Well, hello there. I
How you
am
doing?
Nick, and this is the Cleveland Charging Cavaliers show. And welcome to our co-host Ed down in this We Ride with 614 Columbus. Hello, Ed. How are you?
That's right. We're on the fast break. This is a great Cavs show we got coming on today. We're going to knock down some jumpers and get some rebounds and get this thing kicked off with a nice jump ball. But how you doing, Nick?
The Cavs are up 55-51 as we speak. Got it over here, Darius Garland's back. Evan Mobley looks good. And this is a really exciting time to have a Cavs show. Let me tell you, everything's pretty great in Cavs land, wouldn't you say?
So you're saying there's going to be a finals without LeBron? This is going to be a wonderful time in the land. I'm ready for it, Nick.
Well, I feel like the elephant in the room, and I'd like to say, we are the Barking Browns show presented by Couch Guy Sports, and Ed is here with us tonight. Had a little switch up that we've got going on, but rest assured, Jacob is just fine and will be back soon. But we are pushing through because, in all seriousness, and I say this a lot of times, by the time we're at the end of the show, I feel better. I think talking through a lot of this stuff helps other people feel better. We all deal with it differently, right? And like Ed, you use a lot of humor, and that helps, so much. But it's like, this is, what, it's not easy, but we're here. We're gonna make it fun. We're gonna make it fun, Ed, and that's my plan. What do you got, Ed?
Well, we're going to have a fun-packed show. We're going to talk about what happened in Pittsburgh. And if anybody wants to know, my dad is from Pittsburgh. I called him up today. I said, fuck Pittsburgh. I don't care that you beat us twice this year because you know what? You got some ugly colors. You got an ugly quarterback that's retiring. Isn't it going to be nice to watch a Browns-Steelers game without Big Ben Roethlisberger? At least you know what, crying all the time. It's like, I like them crying better when we beat them last year, but hey, we're going to beat them again. The Browns, hey, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough week, but we're going to get through it. There's a lot of positives to be, hopeful for and grateful for, actually. And Nick, I think, let's kick it off. So whatever you want to do, my friend, I'm ready to rock and roll.
You know what? And I'm glad. I'm very glad that, you know what, Ed, you're always awesome with all your producer stuff, and you do the dog chug and you do here. You're a busy guy, and for you to be able to step in like this, it's pretty awesome. We both, I think I speak for Jacob and I both when I say we really appreciate all you do already, and now here you are. But
Jacob is the starter. Jacob is the starter. I want everybody to know that before the rumors start and everything like that. Jacob is our starter. He is on assignment. He's doing the Lord's work right now. But we love him, and I'm here to fill in, and that I know my role, and that's why we're a great team, and that's what we're gonna do here.
Our good friend Cancel Anime says, I woke up this morning looking forward to a calm, rational discussion about everything that happened. And we are going, well, I can't promise you I'm not going to get a little excited because I'm an off the cuff kind of guy. And oh boy, there's a lot to unpack here. But Ed touched on something really good when you said that something that's lost in all of this, right, debacle, is that Ben Roethlisberger's done by all accounts. Oh, you know what? So my girlfriend Avita is not a big sports fan. Like she humors it because I like it, but she's just not. And that's totally fine. But I'm sitting here last night, and they're doing the whole pomp and circumstance for Ben and all this stuff. And I was talking to Avita, and I was like, you see that guy? Because they're showing Ben. I was like, that is the biggest thief of joy in my sports fandom that has ever existed. And you know what? I hate to admit that. I hate it, right? And I think that manifests itself in my tweets about the Steelers a little bit. But it's true, right? It's true because so what, he's drafted in 2004, and I'm 14 then, right? So I'm just like discovering football and like figuring out all this stuff. Like in '99, I remember when the Browns came back and like I was interested, but when I was a teenager, I really started to understand football and like love it, you know. And of course, right then, Ben's drafted and he's from Ohio and all this stuff, and he just beats the Browns from day one, basically, to yesterday, right? And then watching him win those two Super Bowls and like all this other stuff, it's like, as a kid and coming of age to now as a 31-year-old, it's just like Ben has always been that guy. And so you know what? The biggest positive that I didn't even realize to start this because of you, Ed, is that we're you know what? And a lot of people have faith that the Steelers are going to replace Ben and all that stuff. But are they going to replace him with another Hall of Famer? Unlikely. Unlikely.
I would say they had, remember a guy named Tommy Maddox. So I know he was okay, but he was no Hall of Famer. I remember growing up when we had Bernie and Cincinnati had Boomer, but they had Bubby Brister. They had Mark Malone in the '80s. The Steelers had a decade or so after their '70s run that they weren't that good, and the Browns beat up on them a lot, actually. So I do see some darker days ahead in the Steel City. So we can hopefully hang our hats on that by our Browns defense. And I want to talk about our defense because yesterday in the Steel City, the Three Rivers, they came out, they balled out. And I got to do Jacob, a service here and talk about PFF grades a little bit, because the highest PFF grade goes to Richard LeCount, not one, not two, not three, but he had an 82.2 PFF grade for LeCount. MJ Stewart, not Michael Jordan Stewart, but MJ Stewart had an 81.3, and JOK, A-OK with JOK. We love that guy, 80.5. Garrett was fourth with a 78.8. And then our guy, Phil Dawson, no, Mr. Walker with the number 4 in the middle with 74.4. So those were the highest of the PFF grades, all on the defensive side. One thing about the Browns moving forward, the defense is looking stellar, and it's going to be good for the next decade. So one thing about Berea, they are definitely solidifying the defense, and I think that's how the Browns are going to win. We all thought it was going to be this offensive juggernaut, Kansas City 2.0. Oh, well, we're going to have to win it, dog pound style with defense. And defense always wins games. That's what dogs stand for. And I got a fun fact for you about Mr. Roethlisberger, and maybe that's why he's jinxed my pro football fandom, is because I went to Grove City High School, and Ben Roethlisberger went to Findlay High School. Ben Roethlisberger made the playoffs his senior year as quarterback, obviously, for Findlay. And he lost in his last game was against the Grove City Greyhounds, who beat Findlay 35-21 and ended Ben's career. So he probably cried in that game too. Oh, man. And then he went down to Miami and did what Miami things and got drafted. But who cares about that? So, so my school made him cry. And, yesterday he's crying. He's crying all the time. We made him cry last year. And so Ben, bye-bye. See ya. Peace.
I want to say welcome to our friend Nathan McCarthy here, who says we have a wonderful last name, very fitting. I'm not sure. I think he's referring to you there, Mr. Ed in Columbus. I don't know, bringing that Columbus strong over there. I hope
614, baby.
Yeah, there you go. We ride with 614.
We do. We ride with 6. And I want to say one thing about that. A lot of times people, if you say one thing, they think that you hate Baker Mayfield. That I think you can attest to this, Nick, that we ride with the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. And Baker Mayfield has been our quarterback for the last 4 years. And we will continue to ride with 6 if he's our quarterback. And I don't think and just because you go on Twitter and you put hashtag ride with 6, look, that's fine. And I understand it. And people that want to be positive, I'm all for that. But those people that don't supposedly ride with 6, that's fine too. If you feel that there's a better alternatives out there, all I'm asking for is that everybody's is respectful of everybody's opinion. We're all Browns fans, and
Yeah.
and you can have fun with it. Like I make jokes about Baker, like maybe he needs to be evicted, or maybe the hometown discount. He's got some free lodging the last couple of years living at First Energy Stadium. These are all jokes. I don't hate Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
When who's ever the field general, that's our guy on Sunday, and I'll root for him. And I think that this whole negativity and everything needs just simmer down, as Jessica in Oklahoma would say. Simmer down, it'll be all right. I trust Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski will get the right quarterback. And if it happens to be Baker Mayfield next year, hey, look, their job's important to them, right? And if they're gonna, and whoever they put under center, that's their job on the line. So if Baker Mayfield's the quarterback moving forward, especially next year, obviously, then let's ride with them. I don't see why there has to be so much hatred for that. And a little history lesson. I got this Vinny Testaverde jersey, and I love Bernie Kosar. If you're a Cleveland fan, I was born in Cleveland. You love Bernie Kosar. I love Bernie Kosar to this day. But when Bill Belichick, picked Vinny over Bernie. The problem was he got rid of Bernie in season. Who does that? Bill Belichick does, obviously the greatest coach of all time. He wasn't so great at that time, but but obviously Bill was right. I mean, Vinny led us to the playoffs in '94 and Super Bowl favorites in '95 until Art Modell said, "Oh, we're going to move to Baltimore." Okay, whatever. But and same with the scenario here. If Baker's the guy, let's roll with them. If they happen to choose another person, we'll ride with them as well. So we're all Cleveland Browns fans. So basically, that's what I'm trying to sum up in my long-winded statement here.
That's fair. And you touched on a few different things. You touched on the defense, touched on Baker Mayfield. And I mean, there's so much to unpack here, but I think we should just address the elephant in the room. That is Baker Mayfield, and kind of move on from there, because it just seems like, I mean, no matter what you do, if you have seen any Browns talk today, I mean, Baker Mayfield's right at the center of it, as he's been all season, right? And all right, so it's weird. The biggest inconsistency to me in all of this is that when Baker gets hurt and they're addressing the injury and all that stuff, from Kevin Stefanski to Baker Mayfield, they were a united front. And Andrew Berry, talked as well. They were a united front in saying the injury is not going to hurt Baker. Baker's going to be his best on the stretch. There are no performance issues, right? And it's like, and I mean, God, we've seen the whole thing about, you pay Case Keenum all this money to not play because. So, all right. So that's one thing. Okay. But then his play on the field obviously tells a different story, which you would expect, right? Because what are they going to say, that Baker's going to suck? But at the end of the season now, when Baker talks after the game, he says he's hampered by injury, right? And when Alex Van Pelt talks before the game, he says that Baker's been hampered by injury. So you're telling one story to start. Right when Baker gets hurt throughout the season, you're saying he's fine. You played him in Detroit when it made so much sense to sit him, and now when things have gone awry, you're changing your story, and that's where I have a problem, Ed. I can't.
Okay, follow me with this logic a little bit, and this could just be pure speculations. But so Baker, obviously he didn't get the contract in the offseason. He obviously wants a contract. Who wouldn't want that big payday? Okay. Yeah. So he gets hurt, and he feels that obviously the organization doesn't have faith in him because he didn't get the contract, and that's just human nature. Okay. So he's like, well, I'm gonna be a tough guy. I'm gonna play, which is admirable. Okay. So he goes out there and he's struggling, but he keeps playing, and they're kind of treading water a little bit. But now, since he's not playing well, he's using that as an excuse, like the injury. And before it was like, I don't want to talk about the injury because I don't want there to be any reason why this guy, Case Keenum, who's getting paid, big bucks, is not playing. So it's kind of like it was advantageous for Baker to use the injury to be so he could say he could play on the field, so he could be a tough guy and get the contract, which makes sense. Look, if I was Baker's agent, I would advise him to do the same thing. But then when it doesn't go the way that he wants it to and he's not playing well, then of course he's going to say, well, it is the injury. That's why I'm not playing well. And then he can say things like, well, I'm not being put in the best position. And that may be true. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say Kevin Stefanski's, 100% not,
Sure.
guilty of, putting him in a position to win. I mean, look at some of the, why are we chucking the ball as much as we are? Like, I don't know. A lot of people saying that Stefanski's hanging him out to dry. I don't know about that. I don't think Kevin Stefanski is purposely, trying to make Baker an example, like, and then losing games because of that. I think he's a man of integrity and a good guy and wouldn't do that. But at the same time, I feel like, there has to be the dichotomy of, okay, I'm hurt, I want to play, but with the expectation that I'm going to go out there and be serviceable or be average. But it's not going that way. He's actually way below average. What is like the 27th rated quarter? I mean, it's pretty low. I mean, I don't pick whatever metric you want to use. He's bottom probably. So now it's convenient now that he's saying, well, the injuries now did affect it, and I obviously believe that his throwing motion, the way he throws it, and his accuracy is definitely being debilitated by the harness. But here's the problem I have. Okay, this is the thing. We all saw Njoku wide open yesterday. We all saw where there's 3 wide receivers open in the middle of the field and he gets sacked. Here's the thing about that. No injury that he has is stopping him from getting rid of the football, especially from a guy that, look, if he's got all these injuries, you would think that, hey, man, get rid of the football so TJ Watt doesn't murder me the next play. And yet he's holding on to it. And then he's turning his back to the offensive line and scrambling when the pocket's clean. Does he have eyes in the back of his head? I don't know what he's doing because, I think he's playing skittish, it seems. I wish they would have just shut him down. They did him a disservice, but I think that, it's one of those things that we're not privy to what's going on in Berea, so we'll never really know. But if they want to run it back next year, look, I think Baker's earned a mulligan. I think Stefanski's earned a mulligan. I hate to say that because you can't waste seasons, but I saw what they did last year, the last 8 games, and it's hard to argue that they couldn't do it again. I mean, that's get a wide receiver, get some wide receiver help. They don't have anybody that can separate. I think that's what kills them. We thought OBJ would be the guy. Landry's been kind of hurt. He isn't the guy. He's a slot receiver at best. Let's be real. I mean, he's not going to break away from anything, and that's fine. But they need guys to stretch the field. I'd take all the Ohio State receivers, and
that wouldn't be a bad thing.
OHIO, let's go. But other than that, like I think there's people fighting. We don't know what's really going on, but I think all those gentlemen deserve a second chance if they don't upgrade the quarterback position. But I trust in Andrew Berry. Out of all Stefanski or Baker Mayfield or Andrew Berry, I trust AB the most.
Our friend Cancel Anime weighs in and says Baker only just started saying the injury was hampering him. AVP is also saying Alex Van Pelt, and I think, and so you've kind of laid out a whole timeline here, and I think at the beginning of it, the biggest problem I have is that now all of a sudden, so it seemed like Kevin Stefanski, Baker Mayfield, Andrew Berry all say the injury's not hurting him. The injury's not hurting him. He's going to be fine. And so they're united front, right? Now, all of a sudden, Alex Van Pelt says a different story. Baker Mayfield says a different story. You're starting to see some cracks, a little bit of division here, and it raises a lot of questions as to what I'm. And that's the biggest thing, right? Is that before when we would look at Baker Mayfield play and all of that, you could say, okay, well, these receivers are open and Baker Mayfield's just struggling and Baker Mayfield needs to be better. And I feel like we could, for the most part, there were people that questioned Stefanski too, but for the most part, you could say, okay, our quarterback needs to be better. That's our problem. And now all of a sudden you're looking at this and you're like, well, these guys aren't on the same page. Should they have just shut? Well, I mean, I think we could all say, now that they should have just shut down Baker. And it's like, then you start to question the coach. Then you start to question the GM. Then you start to ask questions about, who's really making decisions here. And then you go from just questioning, saying the quarterback's not good enough, to saying, what is our management, between the head coach and the front office and all of it? What are they doing? And it raises a lot of questions that, God, I did not want to have.
Well, my biggest question is with Mr. Stefanski. You know, you pay the offensive linemen, and during the middle of the season, I question when they gave Wyatt Teller that contract extension. It's just like in anything. You know, everybody's cool with getting paid, but then you got people in the locker room thinking, well, why am I getting paid? It's just human nature. You know, just I don't know why they maybe couldn't have waited till the off season to do that. I don't know the dynamic of the locker room. You know, with this COVID stuff and a lot of the media. As much as we want to bang on the media and say, you know, this, that, or the other, or they're not doing their job, or this or that. A lot of them, they're not getting access to the locker room in Berea, so they don't even know. So a lot of the reports that we're getting, I don't know, a lot of it's just speculation. So, but my thing with the whole Stefanski thing is, you know, Nick Chubb got 219 carries.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's got 219 carries, but it's only played in 8 games. So, you know, you pay the offensive lineman, like I said, and then it's a run first team, which we all know that it is. Obviously, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson. I mean, that's your stable of backs, and we just thought they're going to be force fed the ball, and we were going to win the game pounding the rock, kind of like we did last year. With then get the play action going, and you know our receivers are adequate when that the run game's working, the play action's working, because with even like Higgins and Jarvis Landry and stuff. Yeah, you want one guy to be that over the top guy. Obviously, we thought OBJ would be, and you know what I'm saying, but you don't need that. You know, this ain't the greatest show on turf like the Rams of like 2000 where Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. You don't need that per se, but you just need sure-handed receivers to get those third down, those 3rd and 5s. You know, we're not getting. You know, the thing about it is the most frustrating thing. You know, how many times it's like a 3rd and 5, and like last year that was easy. Baker goes, Baker's, and they got 3 or 4 options. Like it was so easy. And now this year it's like pulling teeth to try to get a 3rd and 3. It's like, and then we try to run the ball a lot of times, and it's like it just the holes. I don't know. Maybe obviously teams 9 in the box or whatever like that. I mean, they know we're gonna when they know we're gonna run, we run, and then we pass. We're so pass happy all the time in the beginning of the game. It's hard to come back. We get down 2 scores. Like even yesterday when it became like 16-7, I'm like, it's hard for us. And then we're not gonna talk about Mr. Colquitt, the unspecial teams. This is a special for Jacob. PFF grade. Mr. Colquitt had the lowest PFF grade of his 17-year career. He banged his toe on the turf before he punted the ball. Bad. How do you, Nick? I don't know if you have you ever taken. I mean, I'm not a punter, okay?
No,
I know you're probably not one too. But have you ever hit your toe on the ground before you punted the ball?
No,
no.
God.
Okay, all right. I
don't.
And then Hudson. I want to talk about. I talk about the offensive line and Mr. James Hudson. He's taken a lot of heat this year, but his PFF grade was actually a 50.9. And that was actually better than expected. So we talked about pass rushing downs. Myles Garrett was double teamed 10 times. Clowney was double teamed 6 times. TJ Watt was only double teamed twice. And this doesn't talk about like chips and bumps and everything. This is just straight up double teamed. You got a guy getting 4 sacks. He was only double teamed twice on passing downs. Like Baker kind of had a point there with Stefanski. Like, hey, I
think he did too.
I mean, maybe he shouldn't have done it in the fashion that he did it. But hey, when that one hit that TJ Watt got him, I thought he was dead, man. He murdered him on that one. I mean, Baker's tough. You cannot question Baker Mayfield's toughness. My goodness, sometimes he got up and it's like I want to.
And Cancel Anime asks, has Stefanski or Barry recently, like within the past few weeks, actually said clearly the injury isn't affecting him, contrary to Alex Van Pelt or Baker? And I remember when Andrew Barry talked, I can't remember exactly when he talked. It wasn't that long ago. And he basically said that he expects Baker to play his best football down the stretch, which, I mean, now you look at it and then you're like, well, that's a different story than what Baker and Alex Van Pelt are saying. So, I mean, that's a whole, but you know what? I don't want to linger too much on Baker, but I do want to say that a lot of the non-injury related bad habits Baker had that he seemed to break down the stretch of last year. The happy feet, just let even yesterday,
the double pumping,
the hesitancy, that type of thing, or like he's spinning out of the pocket when there's not pressure there, even though there was pressure a lot of the time. A lot of those habits that he broke last year are once again manifesting themselves this year, and that is concerning. As you said, Ed. because that's not injury related. And maybe it's possible that, he's mentally, he knows he's limited, and so a lot of his other bad things are a lot of his other bad habits are lingering. I'm not sure. But with Baker, I think there's a lot of questions right now. I wish there wasn't so many questions. But Ed, I think you covered it sufficiently, and I don't want to just make this a Baker Mayfield show. So I think when
Thank
you
you.
touch when you touch on Nick Chubb, I think that's a great place to go because wow, the Steelers and the Browns were just a tale of two different stories where and I commented on it in the fourth quarter. Najee Harris at one point got 4 straight carries, and I think they got 3 first downs in that span. It might be 2. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. But when it was time to really get the offense going, the Steelers gave the rock to one of their best players and just let him go to work. And you, I think that stiff arm by Nick Chubb was awesome.
Oh,
but I think you could see the frustration, and Kevin Stefanski gave this like rib injury excuse or whatever. I don't. That's nonsense to me. It's nonsense.
Nick Chubb would even say that's nonsense.
And up until this point, I think the three of us have really defended Stefanski's play calling, because even yesterday, despite the fact that you're saying the Browns don't have separators or wide receivers, there's were open guys, and
they were open. No, when I mean separation,
Yeah.
I mean separation down the field.
Yeah,
These guys are
and I
sitting
know.
open.
But and so largely I feel like we were on the Stefanski bandwagon, but the lack of running yesterday is very odd to me.
Chubb 12 carries, 58 yards. Najee Harris 28 carries, 188 yards. And you know what's funny about that when you're talking about the fourth quarter and winning time? That reminded me of how the Browns won last year. How many close games did they win last year? Kind of like what the Steelers did. The Steelers beat us yesterday like we beat teams last year.
Yeah.
Running the football. Najee Harris's longest was 13 yards.
Because it's not like Ben was great.
Yeah.
It's not like Ben was great. They just
56.3 quarterback rating. Baker was a 53.1. Baker actually kind of outplayed. That last interception is what kind of takes it down at the end. But really, kind of Baker almost outplayed. And I hate to say that's how bad Baker or how Ben is actually. That Baker statistically kind of outplayed him.
My friend, and I don't want to mess the stat up, but my friend at one point said Ben was on pace for one of the lowest. I think it's yards per attempt or yards per completion of the season. And
yes,
like it was just like they just let him throw as much as he ever wanted to throw. Right. It was the Ben show. And it wasn't working well. And then they fed Najee Harris, and we didn't. And there's been people, and so I'll ask you what you think, Ed, but there's people that speculate, that they just sent Baker out there to die. And they didn't run, and they just let Baker throw because, and I don't know. This is very gross, murky, yucky territory that I really don't know. But why, for the majority game, the game's close for the majority of the time, and you had the dude throw 38 times? Like what? Why? What? Even say Nick Chubb's hurt. Fine. Dearness Johnson is more than capable back. Why are you not running the ball? I don't understand. I don't get it.
And that's the thing, you keep saying it, and what everybody and what I've been hearing on the radio stations in Cleveland today was, hanging Baker out to dry like that. Look, it's easy to say that is the case, but nobody knows. And my caveat to that is, do you really think Stefanski would put his job? Not his job in jeopardy. I'm not saying that, but no NFL coach. They all take every game so seriously. They spend hours and hours away from their family, with these game plans, and that's what I don't understand. I've always said this too. Madden Stoner dude eating fourth meal in his mom's basement on the couch could have had a better game plan than what Stefanski did yesterday. So all you had to do was run the ball. Honestly, you know what? I know the Browns back in like the 1960s, I think with Otto Graham, the first year in the NFL that they played the Philadelphia Eagles the first game. And they did all this, like Paul Brown was the coach, and they did all this passing and stuff. They're very innovative. Paul Brown, very innovative. That's why Bill Belichick loves them. And I don't think Paul Brown gets enough credit. I think Paul Brown, the Lombardi Trophy should be the Paul Brown Trophy, because the things that he did with the work, the NFL schedule, the radio and the helmet, that's all Paul Brown's doing. So Paul Brown, he beats the Eagles first year in the NFL. Okay. And the Eagles were like, oh, he's so gimmicky. He's passing the ball, because back then it was all run, run, run. So Paul Brown, they play him later, I think like week 10 or whatever like that. And Paul Brown said, F it. They're going to call me this gimmick. Paul Brown only like attempted one pass with autogram or something. I think the Browns won like 38-14 or something like that. They showed him that, fine, we'll play it your boring, archaic way and just run it, and we'll still kick your ass. So, and I think that, and I still think, Madden Stoner dude yesterday could have went archaic and it just said, we're just going to run the ball every time. We're going to tell Pittsburgh we're going to run it. Pittsburgh's run defense is what, 30th on, I mean, they're horrible. That's the thing. And then why are we going out there trying to make Baker Mayfield look like he's, Kurt Warner of 2000 out there? And he's not. He's injured. And we don't have the receivers, obviously, that, So I don't understand from a game plan. Stefanski's, hey, go home to your family, Stefanski. If that was your game plan, you spend all those hours in Berea, away from your kids and your wife and stuff, and you went out with that? Like, my goodness, like eat your Taco Bell at 2 a.m. in the morning like the rest of us. Spend time with your family and try to win a football game the way that, with your strengths, running the football.
I will say, there were plays, obviously, and we touched on it, where there's guys open. We can see there's guys open, and maybe if Baker is less hesitant, those are more completions. And maybe that's what he's seeing, right? But I think at some point, even if the numbers favor it, I think you just need to recognize what's working and what isn't. And Stefanski just didn't. And Cancel Anime says, I'm not going to use the lack of run as an excuse for Baker's play, because that's just giving him disservice. But it's certainly a reason why we lost. And I would agree. I would definitely agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so I don't know. I was listening to 92.3 this morning, and it definitely feels like there's some more stuff, and they're talking about this. All of this is.
Did you get worked in a shoot today? Did you?
No shoots. But all of this is really peculiar and seems very off. And with the post game comments from Baker, kind of calling out some of the stuff, with Chris Hudson and just like these locker room issues or whatever. I think there's a lot more at play here than we know, and I don't know when it's going to come out, if it's going to come out, but there's certainly some issues. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and I'm normally not, that guy, but it definitely feels like there's some stuff
after
going
that OBJ. Look at after the OBJ thing. I didn't see many of his teammates come to Baker's defense. I mean, they didn't say anything or go either way. And then you see on social media, a lot of them are, congratulating OBJ when he's getting touchdowns. And like, who does? Like, and I remember back in the day, like I know I'm old school a little bit now, but back in the day when the Browns played the Steelers, maybe in the offseason they hung out and partied or whatever like that. But during the season, at least they pretended or had that, perception that they didn't like each other. And I would never see Bernie Kosar or anybody on the defensive side, like Eric Turner or anybody, congratulating another player that was on your team that just left your team because they didn't get along with your quarterback. Like, I know it's this new age and I get it. And maybe I don't fit in this world, but, OBJ didn't want to be a part of Cleveland Browns. He kind of made it, clear to Jay Glazer that, even a week after he was traded here, he didn't really want to be here. So he gets his wish and gets out of here. And then you got people on the Cleveland Browns wishing him good luck in LA, which is fine. But at the same time, it kind of hijacked our season a little bit, because if we would have traded you in the offseason, I don't know what we would have got for him since he was injured. But, we could have got somebody else in here that could have been that stretch receiver, that number one receiver. And it kind of hampers us. It's like, yeah, congratulations, OBJ. We're glad that, no hate on you. I wish you nothing but success. But unfortunately, that success is still at the detriment of the Cleveland Browns in the 2021 season. And that's what I'll never understand that. Like, hey, I'm glad you're having fun in La La Land, but here in the land, we're not winning games because, we don't have that stretch receiver that we could have used. And everybody talks about the Kansas City game and this and that. Well, we could have used them in the playoff game and stuff like that. Well, we can still use a stretch receiver. And that's why I'm hollering for an OSU receiver. Or I'll tell you what, though, I like that Smith and Jigba. I don't know. I know he can't come out next year, but man, that guy, I don't know what's that Rose Bowl, but OHIO all day on that one.
Mm-hmm. I just, there is, so aside from Austin Hooper, who falls down at every opportunity, tired of that. Aside from him, though, I do think that there's some point to be made that the passing game has been so putrid for most of the year that it is hard to truly evaluate our pass catchers, in my opinion. Like I don't
That's fair.
I don't think Baker's seeing the field. I don't think he is taking a lot of shots. He's definitely getting beat up, right? And so there's a lot of pieces to it where it's like, do we really know what we have at receiver? And because the quarterback
not much.
Yeah, and so the receivers could look better than we know if they can get the things back on track, moving forward. But I do want to take this time to thank, including yourself, Ed, all of our wonderful Patreon members. As we have concluded a month, and so with Jacob not being here, we're gonna hold off. But we do have our winner of our monthly free shirt giveaway, courtesy of Zabo Apparel, the wonderful people.
Love Zabo Apparel.
Yeah, we do love Zabo Apparel. And we have our winner has been selected, and so we will be telling you who you are soon. You will be very happy, and we're really excited, to keep doing that for you guys. And thank you to Zabo for helping us along with that. And if you don't know, for all of our Patreon members, we do a monthly shirt giveaway for everybody. Everybody's entered into, and we have 10 patrons. So right now you have decent shots every month. Then we've got a group chat that we have together, full of reasonable people, good conversation, not just angry back and forth, even though, sometimes things get a little, yeah. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone because for all of our patrons that we've started out with, right? We've made it up to 10. We've never lost one. So clearly we're doing something right. So, and you know what, whether you're a patron, not a patron, the fact that you're here listening and being here with us in honor of Jacob, the most valuable thing you can give someone is your time. And so I think I speak for Ed and I think I speak for Jacob as well when I say we appreciate you. So thank you. And I can't wait to see where things go, because even though things are a struggle right now, there's so much that's going to be exciting ahead. And I'm sure Ed and I are about to move into this, but I do want to get to some of our lovely ads that we have. They may not be as much fun as the Dog Chug. Oh God, if you like some ad reads over at the Dog Chug. But I do want to say that the Barking Brown Show is brought to you by Exogun. Ever do a workout and feel like you need a massage after? Well, get your massage without leaving the house. Don't let pain and soreness slow you down. Exogun revives muscle, boosts circulation, and releases energy so you can recover faster and live better. Take it wherever you need it. Work, the gym, the trail, and put the power of percussion massage treatment in your hands. It's portable, adjustable, and powerful. Exogun is trusted by the pros to deliver the ultimate in recovery. Like we said before, you can even use it for percussion therapy. What's percussion therapy? Percussion therapy boosts muscle function and recovery by penetrating deep into the muscle tissue with a series of rapid, concentrating, pulsating strokes. Gain back control of your body and achieve long-term pain relief with Exogun. Get 10% off with the code CGS10 at checkout. Comes with a charger, carrying case. Go get your Exogun today. Treat yourself to a massage at a moment's notice.
Oh, sounds good. That sounds really good, actually, right now. I think all Browns fans could use that.
Yeah. And you know what? So I know we alluded to the future a little bit, but you brought up some great grades of the Browns defense. And I wanted to say it surprised me that one of the top ones there, despite his shoe throw, was not Jadeveon Clowney, because I really thought he had a good game, Ed.
You know what? I did too. That sack of Roethlisberger, whatever like that, almost a safety or whatever like that. I think maybe he was a little bit too amped up, and that's why with the shoe and everything and things like that. But I guess I as a Browns fan who's gone through a season of struggle,
Yeah.
I like to see a guy fired up in a game that has no playoff implications for the team that he's playing for, because
Hmm.
obviously we were eliminated before kickoff, but that didn't matter to Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
He didn't, somebody didn't tell him, hey, we're eliminated,
Yeah.
because he brought the fire, at Heinz Field. And, as a Browns fan, I appreciate that. I wish he would have been a
I did
little
too.
bit smarter.
Yeah. A little bit.
But at the same time, I would, people talk about 11 Jamie Meters that one game. I know Doug.
Hmm.
Shout out to Doug Deacon, the author of
Yeah.
the 11 Jamie Meters. 50 years for the Browns. Sunday will be his last in the booth with Jim Donovan. So shout out to Deke. We love you. We loved you as a player, and we
Good luck,
loved you in the
buddy.
booth. And being a kid, I remember living in North Olmsted, and obviously with Nev Chandler was the play-by-play at the time. And that was when they actually blacked out games if they didn't sell out a majority of the seats by Thursday, I think, of the week or whatever. So I remember one game they were playing the Oilers late in the year, and it was kind of like this season. They finished. They were 7-8 after they lost that game, and it had eliminated us from the playoffs. But Deke in the booth, man, he was still telling his jokes like he was. He's still the same guy that
Yeah.
he was back then as he is now, and forever a Cleveland Browns legend. And whatever your second life is, or third life, I should say, after your playing career and your broadcasting career, I hope it's the best ever, and I hope someday that we can celebrate a Super Bowl, and then you can enjoy that with us, because your family and the Cleveland Browns family. And one thing about being from Cleveland, and even just being part of the Browns per se, it is a family, and that's why when I talk about getting along, especially on Twitter and social media, we all are a family. So let's just try to respect each other, whether we have different opinions or not. And if not, do it for Deke, because Deke's a big man, and I'll tell him to go kick your ass.
I like that. You know what? I didn't realize he was retiring. That's wow. I love that team, the team of the two of them. So, and he comes on 92.3 all the time too, and I really enjoy listening to what he has to say. So, I mean, those are big shoes to fill. We'll see how the Browns.
Oh, I know. I can't wait to see who does that. And they always say in baseball, the smartest person makes the best manager is usually the catcher. And just like as we found out in the booth and broadcasting, the smartest guys are always the offensive linemen. Look at Joe Thomas and look at Deacon. And once again, I think Joe Thomas. Hey, I wouldn't mind seeing Joe Thomas in that spot.
Fun.
Just throwing that out there.
That would be fun. I'd love that. And our friend Cancel Anime says the Steelers fans are trolling Nick so hard on Twitter. That is true. You know what? Sometimes you make your bed and you got to lay in it. That's what I'm doing right now. It was a great, almost year of just talking trash incessantly. I'm glad I did it, because
I'm glad you did too.
I've been waiting my whole life to talk trash to the Steelers, legitimately, and I would not change it. So,
48-37, and you can
48-37.
never wash that away.
No,
I don't care how many rivers you have, Pittsburgh.
You know what? As long as the Colts handle the Jaguars, which they should, because the Jaguars are full tanking. Ben's last playoff game ever. Great tweet here coming. Ben's last playoff game ever will be a loss to the Cleveland Browns forever and ever and ever. So
I would retweet that 100,000 times if I could.
I just popped in my head. But you know what? So I just about the defense. I thought for the majority of the game, and we've seen this story a bunch of times. The defense, all of a sudden, the defense is rounded form, playing admirably. The offense does nothing. The defense wears down and eventually gives in. And so I thought for the majority of the game, the defense played pretty damn well. And so as we're starting to turn to the future looking here, it's like, you got Jadeveon Clowney, you got Denzel Ward. There's definitely some questions about, who are you going to pay? Like Anthony Walker, I was listening today to 92.3 as well, and they were talking, Anthony Walker speaks for the defense a lot, and he's just here on a 1-year contract. So it's like, I'm not sure what they're going to do there.
I'll sign him for one more. I'll sign him. Even if he wants I'll give him a 2-year deal, 1-year deal, whatever. I say you bring him back. I like guys like that. Bill Belichick, when he became the coach, I was bringing this up a lot. He brought in a lot of his New York Giants players that won the Super Bowl, like in '86, like Chip Banks and Pepper Johnson and things like that. You need those guys like Walker, because you know what? They're smart, and they make JOK even better, because JOK's that nut. He's that guy that'll go sideline to sideline, 150 50 miles an hour. And then you got Walker, that cool collective guy that can call out the signals and kind of, organize the defense. And then that's what you need. And that's what a team is. It's a team full of young players, but you need that veteran presence. And if Mr. Walker wants to come back, you can bring Texas Ranger with you. You can bring yourself any Walkers you want to, but I say put him back. The only thing I got a problem with is number 4 because I still think sometimes it's Phil Dawson in there, and I don't know why.
I agree.
I wish you could find a kicker, but that's another story for another day.
But it definitely is encouraging. You know what? Because I think defense takes longer to build than offense does. I just think depth on defense is important, and just that together cohesive unit. And so I'm really glad that so many pieces, like it looks like JOK and Anthony Walker. I'm not sure, and not Anthony Walker. Jacob Phillips, has been out there. Like that's even nice to see because he's actually been playing. Grant Delpit was okay. After that scary knee. Yeah. And so there's definitely pieces to build there. I'm sure, and
lots of pieces.
Yeah, but you got questions too, like what do they do with Jadeveon Clowney? Malik Jackson and Malik McDowell are both on 1-year contracts, so not sure what they're going to do there.
Speaking of Malik McDowell, looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the top 9 PFF grades. Malik McDowell was top 9, and like I said, the only one that cracked the offensive player was Wyatt Teller at 74.4. The whole rest of them were defense. That's fine. One side of the ball. Like you said, a defense is harder to build, and I think a consistent top 5 defense actually is not. Yeah. Now, obviously, the offense is driven by getting that quarterback or whatever like that. I get that if you can get a Joe Burrow, but they don't grow on trees, okay? And that's why I think that this whole Baker thing, if you can get the offense rolling like it did last year, think about this. And somebody said this today, and it just got my juices flowing. Take last year's offense. Put it with this year's defense.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So there's a lot to like there. There's a lot to like, and it's because I think inevitably now, as we talk about all of this and we look at it, with Baker being shut down for the rest of the year, now you look into the future, right? So when we look into the future, it's like, okay, so let's tackle some of this, Ed, because this is some of the hardest stuff.
This is fun. Hey, Browns fans, this is the fun part. I know all the gloom and doom and everything like that. No, what we're going to talk about in the next couple minutes should get you salivating like a dog.
You know what? Because there's a lot of good future. So I'm definitely on board with sign Denzel Ward, bring back Jadeveon Clowney. I know there's going to be a lot of moves, but it's like Ed, like we've got all our draft picks. You've alluded to those delicious Ohio State wide receivers.
Feed me.
I would love, man. It's like you watch like Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown and Deebo Samuel and Jamar Chase now, and all these wide receivers that are just dynamic. I would love the Browns to have one, man. Just one.
Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson,
anybody?
Sure. Sign me up.
London Drake, anybody? Drake London.
And I will say, I saw the Browns can pick as high as 7 if things go their way. And I mean, you know what? I know this is a very dicey subject, right? I understand that. But when there's nothing left to play for and your franchise quarterback, we're Baker Mayfield. Whatever you think about Baker Mayfield, he's not playing, right? The only thing you can start doing is say, okay, how do we be better for next year? That's inevitably what you have to do. So, 7 sounds nice. 7?
Seventh heaven, right?
Hey, they've got Detroit's 4th pick. That'll be the first pick in the
first. I think I know what you're alluding to, and I'll say one thing. The higher the pick, let's be real here. There's going to be teams that and I'm not saying for the Browns to get a quarterback because I honestly I don't think there's one to be taken. I joke around and I'll say Kenny Pickett because he's fun and exciting, but I'd rather have Baker. Here's the thing: the higher the pick, guess what? I think Andrew Berry's a smart guy, and there'll be teams calling, and then you could take that 7th pick, trade it maybe for like the 15th pick. Pick up some additional picks. That way you get your wide receiver named Garrett Wilson, and then you get some defensive out. I mean, what was TJ Watt picked 30th or whatever?
I don't even know.
I mean, I mean, so yeah, I mean, he wasn't a Myles Garrett #1 overall pick. I think TJ Watt was picked 30th overall. So my thing is this: if you get that 7th pick or higher, which we don't really need that high of a pick to get the quality of wide receiver that we need, and then you get another #1 pick or a #2 pick next year. This team, I'm telling you, there's Browns fans. I know this was very disappointing, and you don't want to waste seasons, but man, there is so much to salivate and be thankful and happy and grateful for. And like I said, it's on the defensive side of the ball, which, we all think offense is sexy. It's sexy. It's sexy when you have a defense that can shut shit down, and the opposing teams come into Cleveland, the dog pound, and we're and you know what? And they don't, and then they leave and they barely scored 10 points. You got a defense that can, that's what's fun. I think like Denzel Ward and Newsome, those are lockdown guys right there. And then, like I said, I mean, we're going to have to shore up the defensive line some, whether it be re-signing Clowney or getting some help in the middle or whatever like that. But with those extra draft picks and what we got coming up, I love defense. And JOK is a nut in the middle. And JOK plays like two positions. Like when he's on the field, it's like having two guys on the field. Because no matter what the defense is, what the offense is doing on the other side of the ball, they're scared of him. Like it's like a Ray Lewis situation. I mean, that quarterback is looking, he's got his eye one side. So where's JOK at? Where's JOK at? We haven't had that. And honestly, the Browns, as storied as a franchise as they've had, defensively, they really haven't had that awesome defensive player that in that kind of light is what a Ray Lewis or possibly what a JOK could be. And that's so exciting.
I mean, you know what? When they're so, everybody talks offense. And obviously we want to build up the offense too, because I would be shocked if they don't go wide receiver with their first pick. I would be, I mean, maybe, well, we'll get into that. But even Patrick Mahomes looked human against a good enough defense, right? And for a league that preaches offense, it's like, if you can play good enough defense, you are going to be in every game you play. So, So I'm excited. You know what? There's a lot of promise there, and you know what? So even now, even as we look at there's Kevin's questions with Kevin Stefanski and that type of thing. If Andrew Berry's biggest misstep so far is signing Austin Hooper, I think the Browns are in pretty good hands at GM.
I think you're right.
That's where I'm at. Like you can't, and oh God, I feel so bad for Jack Conklin, but it's like, it goes under the radar that one of Andrew Berry's first moves was to sign a first-team All-Pro at right tackle. Like that, I mean, oh man, what a good move that was.
That reminds me of Charles Bentley when we signed him back in the day, and then he got hurt too. It's like, you go out there and you get that the basically the #1 offensive lineman prize in all of free agency, and then they get hurt. You know what though? But you got to keep trying. You know what I'm saying? You can't fault him for that. And good for him, because there's times. How many times did you hear Cleveland's such a dumb? Nobody's gonna want to come to Cleveland. Hey, that narrative's over with now. Yeah. And I still think even with all the drama that we've had this year, which honestly I don't think it's as much drama as, but we sometimes when you're in Cleveland and as much as Browns fans, we live in a vacuum as much as because we deal with it every day. And one thing about us being as passionate and stuff like that, and we're so in tune of what's going on. Sometimes we're too much in tuned, and I think that's what drives us crazy. And then we start fighting each other. But that's another story. But I'd rather have that problem than a fan base that doesn't even care. So I think that the Browns' problems, hey, they're first world problems. These ain't really problems, okay? If we have to bring Baker back next year, honestly, I've seen Browns situations much worse than that. And with the defense being the way it is now, I will say one thing: special teams, or unspecial teams as I call it, getting a punter. We'll sign a punter. That's no problem. Punter, I don't really care about. And a kicker, so I'm not too worried about that. And I like JoJo Natson returning kicks, but we'll find somebody. You know what I'm saying? Even Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like him. He catches the ball, and I'm not afraid. I don't get that moment when the ball's in the air and he's going to catch it, because he's pretty sure-handed with those punts now. He's got those long strides, and I'll tell you what, I think next year my lock is he's gonna take one to the house next year.
I would love that. That sounds great, Ed.
That's for Roger. That is for Roger First of Cuyahoga Falls.
There it is.
Donovan Peoples-Jones. I call him Dog Pound Jones. He's going to take one to the house, Metcalf style. That's one for you, Roger.
Big fans of the dog chug over here. Andy, Ross. Ross was in here early. He said it was o'clock, if you didn't see.
Hey, that's what time it is, baby.
And Roger, all our friends, and including Ed right here. Ed is just Ed's a very talented guy. Doing
I
all these
can't
things.
give you Browns fans. I want to give you a hug. I know it's been a tough season. I can't give you a hug, but I can give you a chug tomorrow, 10 p.m.
Ooh,
The Dog Chug with Andy,
love it.
Roger, and Ross. Check us
Yeah.
out. We will make you laugh, and we'll do some crazy shit. I'll tell you that's guaranteed.
You may need some energy to stay up for the dog chug. They go late there. And so, if you ever feel unable to focus, tired, or just low on energy, we understand that feeling. We understand it so well that the Barking Brown Show is brought to you by the Couch Guy Sports Network and is sponsored over by our friends at Shocked Energy. Shocked Energy is a drink made by gamers for gamers. All their flavors come packed with 180 milligrams of caffeine. Ooh, baby, that sounds nice right now. To ensure that no matter what, you are doing your focus and will always be razor sharp to keep you performing at the top level of your game. Their formulas are designed specifically to give you high energy boost when you need it most, ensuring to avoid the jitters and after too much caffeine consumption. Head over to shockedenergy.com and use promo code CGSN for 10% off your order. Check out their green apple flavor box or even their watermelon flavor box. I like watermelon. We're big watermelon people here.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, and don't worry, they ship worldwide. That's right, worldwide. Get your Shocked Energy today and let us help you gain your energy and focus back.
True story about that. True story. So my son likes to play NBA 2K. Okay,
Ooh.
and I had one of those the other day because I'm like, what? Instead of a Mountain Dew, I'm going to try one of these suckers. I had a watermelon because we love watermelon, and I ran with the old Cavs. He was the old Lakers. And I don't want to be this Homer guy or whatever like that. And this is a true story. Drank one of those suckers, and the Cavs won, baby. That's all I got to say.
There it is. So, you know what? In true Homer fashion, talking through a lot of this stuff often makes me feel better, and I hope it makes you guys feel better too. Ed, I hope you feel better. But I think ultimately, and you know what, Andrew Berry, and I know Andrew Berry hasn't been perfect. Like Jedrick Wills is coming out under a lot of fire right now. I still think he's hurt. I don't know. We're going to kind of see where that plays out, right? Because we're in year 2 right now, so year 3 is going to be a really important year for him. But overall, you know what, and no GM is going to be perfect, right? But overall, when you look at the job Andrew Berry's done so far, to me, he has probably been the strongest piece of the entire Browns organization thus far. And, if anything, the Guardians are proof that when your front office is good, you're going to find ways to be competitive, right? You're going to. And so as long as Andrew Berry's at the helm, I'm still find myself feeling optimistic that however we feel about Baker Mayfield moving forward or what the Browns are going to do at quarterback, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Things are so up in the air right now, and there's a lot of emotions running high. I still, and Ed, I want to ask you, I still trust Andrew Berry to figure this out.
100%. And I hate when people say like 110% because that's mathematically impossible. 100%. I agree that Andrew Berry is the strongest piece in the, I call it the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Well, we got Stefanski, Baker, and we got Andrew Berry. Because when I say Baker, I mean quarterback. Because that's, a team wins with general manager, head coach, and quarterback. That's how you win. And then we got this defense, but that's the triangle right there. And Andrew Berry's the strongest piece. I think he's going to prove it again with another strong draft. And like I said, even if we run Baker back, a healthy Baker Mayfield, I trust that Baker Mayfield will be at least what he was the final 8 games of last year. And even if he's 95% of what he was last year, 20 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, I'll take that all day. So I think we'll be fine. The defense is going to be even better because they'll add pieces. And even if we lose Jadeveon Clowney, I trust AB will find somebody in the draft. They're going to get another pass rusher because I think they see how dominant Myles Garrett was this year when they finally got somebody.
Yeah.
That's one thing. It was usually Myles Garrett and nobody else. Well, this year, I think they see that, hey, get somebody else on the other side that can help Myles Garrett and get the pressure off him and see, Myles Garrett, let's be real, if he doesn't get hurt, TJ Watt, watch out. Your sack record is getting broken next year. I'm just, like I said, I salivate. I love this defense because, like I said, defense always wins games. That's how we're going to do it. And like I said, the offense doesn't have to be a juggernaut. And like I said, and if they do upgrade the position and they feel Baker, has to be upgraded and we get somebody else, look, we ride with the Cleveland Browns. And I hope that everybody, can come together and coalesce and realize that our goal is to win a Super Bowl, right? Still, is that what the goal is? Okay, and I think that And maybe sometimes to go forward, sometimes you have to take a step back. This year was a step back,
Yeah.
but like we said, if you watch, and please YouTube guys watch older shows of the Barkley Browns, because we've been saying this all what is this episode now?
37.
37. Yeah, all of them. I think we can all agree that we've been saying that. Moving forward, that it's the defense and seeing what we can do there. So yeah, I'm really proud of what the Browns have accomplished this year. Like I said, taking a step back, but we only took a step back to find out what we got. You know what we got?
Yeah.
Kick-ass defense. That's what
Yeah.
we got.
And Nick Chubb is great. And I really hope they keep Njoku. And Kareem Hunt, Kareem Hunt had injuries this year, but he's still great. There's a lot, and you know what? The offensive line still has a lot of great pieces there. I think there's pieces to build on.
The foundation is there.
Yeah.
The foundation is there.
And Cancel Anime says Baker was elite in the last 8 games of 2020. If you're confident that's who he will get at the very least next season, then I would really want Baker back. And I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, I agree. I just said, hey, I totally agree because I said it. So yeah, I agree with myself.
You know what? Yeah, and so here's the thing. I'd like to give. I think Kevin Stefanski has earned this from me personally. There's no doubt at this point that Kevin Stefanski's made a lot of mistakes this year. There's no doubt that he has. I am going to give, there's been a lot of Browns coaches that have made a lot of mistakes and they never learn from them. They never fix them. They never improve upon them. I'm inclined to give Kevin Stefanski the benefit of the doubt. Just because he was so successful his first year. And so I would like to think that he is going to grow and move upward from here. That's my personal opinion. I just think Kevin, he's not perfect. Obviously we're seeing that right now. He has his own warts, his own flaws, but I do think he is a humble enough person that he's not just going to sit atop the ivory tower like Hugh Jackson and be above reproach.
I'm the bus driver.
Yeah, I don't see Kevin doing that. So I still have faith, and I think that's the most important thing, is to have faith in the guys that make the decisions and run the organization, right? So we're gonna see. But I'm inclined, no matter what, I'm inclined to be optimistic. Just gonna hope that things bounce the Browns' way and they do get as high as 7. Which I guess is kind of saying I hope they. I don't want the. I don't want the Browns to lose.
We're not saying that.
That's not what I'm.
We're not saying that.
I mean, at this point, if you're trotting Case Keenum or Nick Mullins out there, what does? I don't know. I'll be honest. What does winning with Case Keenum or Nick Mullins at the end of the year of lost season do for you? What does that do? Like, I would have loved to beat Big Ben with Baker because Baker, you're still trying to evaluate and think about for the future moving forward. But I mean,
is Joe Burrow even playing? I don't know. I don't know what the Bengals situation is. I don't know if they can help their cause either.
I think they can.
It may be a JV game, if you know.
I think they're playing for seeding still. I think. I'm not positive. Stats up because I think they're like the 3 seed right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they could get highest. Yeah,
so I think they could get 2. Let's see. Let me take a real. I know we're getting a little long in the tooth here, but just a quick. Let's see. NFL playoff.
I'm just, and I mean, I know what you're getting at, but by all means, anybody that goes down to First Energy Stadium, we always want the Cleveland Browns to win and everything like that. I mean, that could be a kid's first game that he goes to and everything with his dad or something like that. Yeah. So we don't want to say that. But at the end of the day, look, if the worst situation is we get a higher draft pick, hey, it might, in the long run, that might not be the worst thing. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. I mean, so the Bengals, this can't be right. I don't understand. Let's see. Okay. All right. So the Chiefs are the 2 seed. Yes. Okay. So the Bengals are 10-6, right? But the Bills and Patriots are also 10-6. At 4th the Bills are the 4th seed at 10-6, and so are the Bengals. So that is going to matter.
Okay.
And also the Chiefs and the Titans are both 11-5 and sitting there tied Titans are the one
Oh,
seed.
so if they both win. So if they both win, the Titans win. They're the number 1 seed because they have the tiebreaker, I think, over
Yeah,
Kansas City.
yeah.
So Kansas City, if they win, then they would be the 2 seed. So it's basically the Bengals fighting for that 3rd seed or keeping that 3rd seed. Then if
Yeah.
that would be the case.
And
I got you.
this isn't updated because it still says the wait, 10 and 6, 16. Yeah. So it still says the Bengals play the Chiefs next week. I don't know why it says that, but I think the records are accurate.
Okay.
The Bengals are 10 and 6, right? Yeah, I think
Yes. 10 and 6.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so the records are up to date. So it is a tight for if you're playing for seeding. I mean, I don't know. They might have something like if they could get as high as if the Titans and the Chiefs lost, they could be the number 1.
Well, if Joe Burrow plays, I think they're going to come in and probably win that game or want to win that game anyway. So to your point, I don't even know if it would be like, oh, we have to really try to lose to get a better draft. They may just come in there and kick our butts because that's what you know what I'm saying. And honestly, like that's not always the worst thing in the world if that's the case. Because here's the thing, like I was saying, I don't want to get Nick Chubb hurt or tear an ACL or anything because then he's out for next year. Like and whatever happens in this final game, we can't have major injuries to any major players because if that happens, then they're not just out this year because there's only one game left. They would be out significant time next year, and that's what I don't look. We're not making the playoffs this year, guys. You know, scoreboard doesn't lie. We don't have a scoreboard. We're not in the playoffs. Okay, we got to be healthy for 2022, and you know, there's plenty to be fired up about that. And I think that hopefully this last 20 minutes that we've been talking about, if that don't get you fired up, go run through a wall then because I'm ready to. You know, but you know, I think I got I wanted to do this for Jacob, and I got a joke for you, Nick.
I'm ready.
I got a joke for you, and hopefully this will stick here. So, why did the Jolly Green Giant get fired?
I don't know.
Because he took a pee. He took a well, you know, you take the you know, you can't have that. They're selling peas and green beans and things, and he's taking product, and he's got to be ushered out the door. You know, I mean, it's okay. It's all right. And I wanted to give a shout out. You know, I love me some me. I say that all the time. But tomorrow is my mom's birthday, and you know, she made me, and I love her for it. And I love me some me, but I love me some mom. So happy birthday, Mom.
Mom. That's you know what? I hope you have a great day down there in the wonderful Columbus.
She turned 73 like Joe Thomas, so that's
73. That's a great year. Going to be a great year. Happy birthday to her. Ed, you did admirably tonight. I'm sure Jacob is going to watch this back. I hope we did him proud. You know, because we're a team here. We're all a team here, and so yeah. No, I feel like I feel better. Do you feel better?
100% better.
Love it. I mean,
that's mathematically possible.
I'm still mad at us, the Steelers, but
me too.
but still, the future is bright, and I think that's really where I'm ending up here. So, do you know a Browns player that has been or is number 37?
Benny Thompson, I think, played special teams back in the Belichick days, 94 when they made the playoffs.
I figured you might know somebody because we didn't start with that. So this has been the Benny Thompson episode of the Barking Browns Charging Cavs show. And that's the joke, but I mean, I'm just having some fun with it. Actually, I'm waiting 1 second because the Cavs are still on, and I want to see what the score is. I can't see it right now.
They're down by 4.
They're down by 4. Okay, so this has they're down by 4, but tight game. 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Yeah. You know,
tune in Valley Sports.
You know what? It's fun. Evan Mobley gonna hit it. Okay, you gotta follow. Anyway, sorry, I know it's a little bit, but you know what? It's like we need something fun, and the Cavs are fun. So I definitely, you know, I'm excited about them too. They're like
we love Cleveland. We love Cleveland.
Yeah, we love Cleveland. All Cleveland sports. But anyway, this has been Benny Thompson.
Benny Thompson, Benny Thompson. Benny, yeah.
This has been the Benny Thompson episode of the Barking Browns show. I'm Nick. He's Ed. Whoa, can't point. I don't know why I can't do this. No, it's the wrong way. There. Why can't I give a hand to turn that way? I don't know. Okay, I give up. He's Ed. No, he's Ed. So admirably and wonderfully loving him, Ed.
Thank you.
And for Jacob and for
we love you, Jacob.
We do love you, Jacob. For everyone that's been here today, go Browns.
Go Browns.